that time of the week again when, yes, every Tuesday, for some reason, I don't get any sleep. And I've been up since 1:30 a.m. So this is going to be an interesting episode. I can see that there are people on the call. I would love you to put some comments into whatever chat you're on at the moment. There's potentially people on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, in the Facebook group, the Future Proof discussion group and business group there on Facebook. If anyone's not part of that, reach out and we can get you into that group. It's a fun, free group that there's a whole lot of great business people in. But today, I'm going to be talking about funnels, which are like the talk of the town for some reason over the last couple of years. But something that has really been around for the entire. Hello, Lindsay, how you going? For the entire marketing, the entire time marketing's been around. A funnel is literally just a series of steps that you would ideally move someone through to know, like, and trust you. So nothing's changed there when it comes to marketing. But funnels is the big buzzword because there are some things with digital funnels, and that's what people are really talking about when they're talking about funnels, that are incredibly exciting. Now, I'm going to take you back in time, 25 years ago to when I started in this profession of marketing. And I think it was 25 years ago, 1995, when I did my first paid promotional piece. I then shortly after that joined an agency. And one of the pieces that we were doing, or a lot of the pieces we were doing, were actually in direct mail. Now, direct mail, you'll still get junk mail from time to time, but direct mail back in the day, and I still believe good direct mail right now, is incredibly effective. Now, back when I was working for that agency, we would craft a piece of communication and we would send it out to a list. Now, we would mail it through the post. It would take about a week to get from here to there, and then our prospect would pick it up, take it out of the mail. Hopefully a lot of them did it, and then read through. And then on the bottom there'd be an offer, and ideally they'd have to fill in the coupon, cut it out, put it in an envelope. Remember envelopes? And they would send it off back to the people who sent it out, which was us. And that'd take another week for it to get to us, and on there that they would be requesting whatever the offer was. We would then fulfill that offer by sending it back to them, and when we sent it back to them, we would actually have a bigger offer or another offer which flowed on from the first. And the first offer was usually a free thing. They could just opt in by giving us their details, and then we would send them something that was usually a cash cost type of product and or service. They would then decide whether they wanted to do that, and they would send that back. So the whole thing, there, and back again, took a full month, so 4 weeks, before you actually knew whether you'd been successful and you actually got money in the door. And back then it was money orders or a check in the mail, right? So, but there were some really great scenarios where that worked incredibly. In fact, one agency I was working for, they did an activity for Lamisil, which was the foot cream. Now, this wasn't my idea at all, but I was there to witness it. And they sent it out to 80,000 people. Now, that's a lot of people to send out mail to, right? But what they did in this scenario is they sent out a single sock. And they said, all you need to do is fill in the coupon, and we will actually send it back to us, and we will send you the matching sock, so you've now got a pair of socks. So it was a really creative way of getting people's, it wasn't about email addresses back then, it was name, phone number, and physical listing address, right? So they sent it back. Now, that campaign got 80% conversion. So of the 80,000 people it went out to, 80% of them actually returned for the sock. They opted in, right? Which is incredible numbers. But it took 4 weeks for that to happen. Now, flash forward into the future, we're now here with the internet, and the same sort of strategies are being applied to what we call landing pages or squeeze pages. And for some reason, everyone's very, very excited about it. Now, it is kind of exciting, but I'll show you why. So just on the board here, what am I going to use? I'm going to use this color here, red. So what you do is you'd reach out to someone. So if you had a list, you could probably mail it or email it to the list. So you've got email. No, well, you wouldn't do email in this scenario because we want to get an email opt-in, right? So you go Ads. You might do ads to actually attract people into your world. Another thing you might do is like social media posts. Social media posts to actually get them to come to a landing page. Now that landing page is offering something of value in exchange for usually contact details. So in this case, it's an email address or something similar. The base amount of information you're normally going to need is an email address and a name to go with it. Now, you could ask for phone numbers, you could ask for all sorts of details, but what tends to happen is your conversion rate goes down over time. Now, a landing page is not much different than a website, but the difference between a landing page or a squeeze page and a website is a website has lots of these links. And that's the definition really of a website, is it's a collection of links. And so when people arrive on a website, they'll go, all right, well, this looks nice, and they're reading it, and then they'll see a link, and they'll click on that other link, and they'll go to another page. And then they'll see another link, and they'll go to another page. And that continues on until they land on a page that's not very interesting, and they'll go away. And so because of the fact that your website becomes these maze of links, you end up losing a lot of prospects in that process. And so most people talking about branding in the ways that you want people to sit in your brand and experience your brand and take their time through your website and that sort of stuff. But what ends up happening there is if you are doing a website to create conversions and create lead generation, the average website is converting at about 1%. So for every 100 people who come there, 1% will make an inquiry decision. And I can tell you there are so many websites performing much worse than that. And the ones that have got probably good marketing teams with them are around maybe 5%. Some can get it up to 10. I have been in a situation where I worked with some incredible people for a company called Ridgeways, which is the removalist company, and they got up to 20% conversion rate on that website because it was all aimed towards getting a quote. So there's purpose for a website. But most of the team, the 20% is about the best I've seen. Most are getting like around 1 to 5%, 5% if you're lucky, all right? Now, the thing with the landing page is because it doesn't have all those links, its only purpose is to do one thing, give us the details or go away, but we will do that in exchange for fair value. These are converting at sort of an average of about 30%. And in fact, I've got them converting at over 60%, and I've seen some as well that are converting it up to 80%, which means that the ones that are doing it 60%, for every 2 people who come to the page, at least one of them will actually give us the contact details and opt into that process. Even at 30%, 1 in 3 is opting in. That's brilliant. So if you can get 3 people to land on there, then suddenly you've got a new lead, and that's all you need to do. How can I get 3 people to land there at 30%, and suddenly I've got a new lead, and I can talk to those people. I can start having a conversation via email. Potentially, there's some other details that you got from them, and on your conversation goes. Now, what usually happened back in the day, you would have these squeeze pages. People would land here, and then they would go to maybe a thank you page. You would have experienced that. You would have filled in some contact details, gone to a thank you page, and that's kind of the end of the story. And so the big change, and this is what the digital funnels are really all about, is that this thank you page is no longer a thank you page. This thank you page is actually where the real offer is. And so in just this little system we've created here, we've got the same process as the direct mail that I used to do back in the 90s. So we would send out some to a list of people with an opt-in offer. People would give us their details, and then they would send it back to us. We would then go back to them with an actual offer for cash in the door. So this whole process now, instead of taking 4 weeks, takes 4 minutes. It may even take less time because there's not a lot of copy on these for them to work really effectively. Now, so people will decide, do they want to purchase from this? Now, it doesn't have to stop there. This is just the simplest possible version. You might have 2 links on here. One says, would you like to buy? Or maybe you're not interested. If they're not interested, you can create what's called a downsell, and you sell them maybe a smaller product. And you could keep doing that all the way down until people got jack of it and left. But most people will click through one of these links to see what happens next. They may buy this one, they may buy that. If they buy this one, we'll send them to a thank you page. Now, there are no thank you pages anymore, are there? Right? So instead of this being a thank you page, this is where we go, well, this person has shown interest. They've now made a buying decision, which means they're an actual prospect, like not even a prospect, they're an actual customer, right? So which means that why, if they're interested, why wouldn't we try and help them more? All right, well, what's a bigger way that we can help them? And usually that's a bigger cost to it as well. There might be a faster way to do things or a more effective way to do things, and that's called a one-time offer. That's usually an OTO is usually that third step. Now, you don't have to stop there. You can then go, oh, well, if they buy that, they'll buy this, and then and you can continue going off the board, right? But what tends to happen is that you might get 30 to 60% that are opting into here. You might get 1% actually converting to a sale, which is so much different than 1% converting to an inquiry. And then you might get 1% of that going to the bigger offer. Now, what's fantastic about all these things, if they work and if they are just lost leaders to your business. So for instance, this might be a small product, just an entry-level product, and your big product is something that you're actually just trying to get people into to sell the big product. You can, in just this first step, do what's called self-liquidate your funnel, which means that however, it might cost you $1 to get people in via your advertising. They land on there, you get their email address. If they don't buy, you can follow up and continue following up. Then they go here. If your product is less than the amount of dollars it takes to actually get enough people to buy, if it breaks even, you're in an actual magical position where you've got now free marketing. Now, obviously, you've got to think about the time it takes you, and you've got to think about any agency help that you're getting and marketing support. But ideally, at the end of the day, if you can get all those numbers to actually be equal, then you've got free marketing, free leads, and you will scale that up as big as you can, because after they buy one thing, you can go back and talk to them about buying all the bigger opportunities that you've got. So this is what funnels are all about. This is why they're a little bit magical. They're really nothing different in the strategy, because this is how we would have done it back in the direct mail days, but it's the speed of it. Yeah, absolutely, Lindsay. Free money. Who doesn't want free money? The other things that you can do to take this a step further is that you might go, all right, well, 30% of people sign up for that. Fantastic. But they maybe only, we'll say 1% sign up for this one here. What we can do is we can then send them a series of emails if they don't decide to buy, a series of emails that are more convincing reasons and help them work through a series of beliefs to understand that this product is definitely worth buying. And we might change that from 1% to 2% simply by putting that process in place. And by doing that change, we've doubled our income. So this is digital funnels. This is kind of what it's all about. It's fairly entry level to do it, and it's fairly straightforward. But there are some moving parts in there. Obviously, you need to have something that's worth offering. You need to craft that offer into a way that's easy to digest. There's a little bit of technology that needs to happen into these things. So look, if you are interested about going online with funnels, or you're wondering about the funnels that you've got and why they may not be working, or how do you get them to self-liquidate, then contact me. Like, there are all sorts of ways you can contact me. The best way is to actually apply for one of these strategy calls, because they are super cool. And where are they? Oh yeah, I can do this one. Yeah, so if you go to russellpearsonprograms.com/apply, you can actually, I will speak to you for about 30 minutes about how you can do just this. So go to there, we can have a discussion either about the strategy you're currently working on or a future opportunity. Like, how could I lay out with you what it might look like if you were going to put this in place for your business. But who doesn't want free marketing? And at the end of the day, that's what that's all about. It's this awesome way of actually acquiring new business into you, into working with you and your company. And it's one of probably the best ways that I've seen. Email's really cheap and affordable, but if you can get this process to actually be paying for itself, self-liquidating, then that's the ideal scenario. And that's the tactic that I'm talking about today. Tactical Tuesday. If you're watching this outside of the Future Proof discussion group, feel free to contact me to get involved in that, because we catch up each week and have a discussion about how to adapt and evolve our business in this ever-changing business environment we find ourselves in 2020 and beyond. But until next time, I would invite you to stay passionate, and I will catch you on the next one.